Hello, hello. Let me fix this actually. Okay. Hey guys. So I am going to be talking about, if I can fix my microphone, I'm going to be talking about some certifications that recruiters actually like to see and also hiring managers. So I'm going to be using some reference, but also for my own experience as a recruiter as well. So, with that being said, I'm going to reference my notes too because I did take some notes. And there's a couple different industries that I'm going to talk about today. Nothing in the medical field, just because personally, as a recruiter, I have not worked in medicine. I have not recruited for doctors and nurses, although I do have some friends in the industry that have. I am only referring to the industries that I specifically have recruited for. So I'm going to be talking about your logistics type of roles, your IT positions, your HR, your recruiting, your sales marketing type of positions, and also your, like, I guess this is IT, but specifically IT support, and then some marketing related jobs as well. So to start out, I do want to highlight, and hopefully people can hear me in here. I'm not looking at a chat or anything. Hopefully that is all pulled up. Give me a second so I can look. Let me see if I'm okay. So the first certification I want to talk about is in the realm of project management because I think people think that they need all these different certifications, Six Sigma, and all of these things, but across industries, across a lot of different employers and whatnot, they typically want to see. Okay, that's probably a little bit better. They typically want to see at least a PMP. So in any project management role, whether that's an IT project manager, your general project manager for any general business purposes, but your PMP is kind of the way to go. Now, I have seen people have a long list of certifications when they're in the project management space. The main one, again, would be your project management professional certification, which is PMP for short. And this is the most common one. I've even scanned tons of job descriptions. In my personal experience, this is the one that stands out, is that certification. And here's the reason why, because it really does show hiring managers and employers that you have the skills to manage projects from inception to completion. That's really, what that one's for. Now, there's two others that do kind of come up within the project management sphere, especially when you're talking about IT. And that is going to be your Scrum Masters and your Agile coaches. So, of course, for our Agile coach, you're going to want to have some type of Agile certification. I haven't seen a ton of like specific needs around a specific certification, but I have seen the PMI ACP for Agile. And then for Scrum Masters, there is a CSM that you can get. But all around, if you're getting started in project management or you're trying to transition into that field, you're going to want to go with your PMP because, again, it shows employers that you can lead and manage projects from inception to completion. Again, like, there's a long list. There's so many certifications out there, right? So don't waste your money on something that only one or two employers are actually going to want you to gain. Just wait until you're working at a place, and if they want you to get that certification, a lot of times companies will pay for it, or they may have some partnership or something, where they can partner you up to get that certification, versus you taking on the cost. Focus your efforts on things that more companies are wanting. So the next one, let me just take a look at something here because I'm not in my studio on my laptop. Take a little pause to make sure everything's all good in here. Okay, and let me put it into, so project management, it's going to sound really bad. Okay, so project management, you want to get your PMP. Now I'm going to move into HR, human resource management, recruiting. There's a lot of certifications that you can see for, someone that wants to move into recruitment and also human resources. Now, I work in this field. I worked in this field for a very long time, since 2013. And even before then, technically, I was recruiting while I was in school. So your HR certifications. So the main one that you're going to want to think about is if you just generally want to get into the HR field, or you want to transition from maybe heavily recruiting to HR, which I've done myself. The main thing you're going to want to get is you're going to want to look at these two main HR certifications that are broadly recognized by most employers. And so the one is your SHRM CP, which is the certification that I have. Now, I decided to go with a SHRM CP because I was a member of SHRM already, and I was going to get a discount, and it was the new industry leader. So your SHRM CP, and I should know what this stands for because I was certified through it. But so let's kind of back up, I guess, with SHRM. I think it's Society for Human Resource Managers or something like that. They have their own certification. So they came out with this certification, I think, in like 2017. And this is really built to help you as an HR practitioner really understand not only the academics behind HR and organizations and leadership, but to actually know functionally what you would do in a given scenario, right? So to think about, okay, it's kind of this balance of the academic, real approach that we should be taking and what really will happen. So the SHRM CP is a good balance of that. I will say when I took the exam, it is a tough exam. I had to kind of put behind me the experience I had just a bit, because there's practices that should happen and they don't really in real life. So you kind of have to make that adjustment. So that's the SHRM CP, Society for Human Resource Managers or Management certification. The other one is the PHP, Professionals in Human Resources. So this will be the other certification. Again, if you're someone that maybe you have recruiting experience and you're looking to move into the HR field, or maybe you have an HR degree and you're just looking to get a certification to maintain your skills or to keep things fresh, you can also get that. Or if you're, starting out from school and you're realizing that you don't just get a job due to having a degree. You don't just get that job, right? Well, certifications can be a nice way to show, hey, I'm serious about this and I am certified in this specific niche skill, which is HR practices. So that's HR. I have seen another one for recruiting that I will talk about. I've also gained this certification when I first started in recruitment. It is called a CIR, which is a Certified Internet Recruiter. I like that certification because it does teach you the basics of Boolean search and finding people online, especially via LinkedIn Recruiter and other means, like more creative methods of finding people. So if you're looking to go the recruiting route when talking about HR or human resources and recruiting, that could be a nice certification if you're sure that you want to start out in the recruitment field. So that's the CIR. Let me put these in the chat for folks in the playback. Human resources. So we're saying the PHR, SHRM CP. And for recruiting, we are saying recruiting CIR. This is probably sounding terrible on the playback if you're rewatching this, but I need to type these in here because I did not have them already typed out. Okay, so moving on along, we're gonna move to IT. So you guys know, if you've watched me, I have done recruiting for IT ever since like 2014. And I took a little break, moved into HR, moved into learning and development. Then I came back to IT and I started IT recruiting again for a company called Nestle. And within the IT work that I've done and also staying connected with industry staffing firms that heavily recruit for IT roles, from your IT support or help desk, which is more where people start out if they are looking to maybe go into networking or something, to your, let's see, cybersecurity, database, general IT engineering, networking type of jobs. There's a couple certifications that companies will look for along with experience. And I would say the same thing with the project management that we talked about. So project management, your PMP, your agile coaches, your scrum masters, those certifications that I mentioned, they're looking for experience, but also looking for certifications as well sometimes. So sometimes it will be a requirement for you to have a certification. Other times it may just be a plus factor. It may really help you stand out, where I look at your resume and I'm like, oh, well, I want to talk to you first because you have these certifications along with the experience. Okay, so moving into IT support. Hey, King of Kill. Hi, Gopis. How are you guys? HR might be hard for me. I don't like people. Yeah, well, you know what? A lot of people don't like people as far as working with them, and that's what HR is for. So HR is for us to help help organizations and the people within them work better together. So that means managers, the employees, so that we can ideally have more efficient workplaces. So we're not just dealing with this person doesn't like Tommy doesn't like Gopis and Gopis doesn't like King of Kill. So we can't get any work done because they're so busy, fighting each other in a politically correct way. So that's what HR is for, and a lot of other things to save companies money, to save on compliance issues and everything else. So anyway, yes, a lot of people don't like each other in the workplace, which is really sad. You should definitely like the people you work with. That's always my model. Obviously, you're not going to like everyone, but yeah, if you're moving into the HR world, that's what you're going to do. You're going to deal with people all day long in some capacity, whether you're a recruiter, you're talking with new people and you're like, hey, come join our organization, and you're talking with hiring managers and other team members to help bring the right talent in. Or if you are in the HR field, like I was working as an HR business partner and learning and development and all these spaces, you're going to deal with like employee issues and everything and beyond. So all right, so let's get into IT. So IT support. Now, IT support, I've recruited for IT support, and there's a couple certifications that are still like the go-to for when a company says, hey, we need more IT support or help desk or whatever. Basically, people that can keep our computers and systems running, answer requests from folks, and if Jessica, if I have an issue with my PC, I have someone I can go to that can quickly get me up and running so I can get back to work. So I wouldn't say IT support is the highest paying jobs within the IT world. It's definitely not a place where I would tell someone like, yes, you need to stay in IT support forever, because the pay is not, compared to everything else you can do, it's not the best. However, if you want to get started in IT support, there's a couple of certifications that stand out to me. One is actually going to be your CompTIA A+. This is something I've seen multiple companies. One is something that we've required in the past for other companies I worked at where I was recruiting for help desk folks. Normally, that's the main one for just your strictly IT support. Now, in really large companies, like a Nestle, for example, and this is real life because we needed this certification too, or it's like a plus factor if someone had it, or at least the knowledge, was your iTool. So let me put this in a chat. Let me see, IT support. And so I'm going to say your CompTIA, if I can spell it right. Whoop. Okay. And iTool, because I'm probably not pronouncing the iTool right, ITIL. That's how it was pronounced to me from the hiring managers I was working with for people that had either the certification or at least a really strong knowledge base, I would go with those two. I really would go with CompTIA A plus or iTool unless you see otherwise for the specific type of jobs and companies you're looking for. Majority will want those certifications. So if you're looking at certification to get for IT support, you want to look at those. Now, once you kind of develop more within the IT field, you probably also want to move into, like, I see a lot of IT support professionals go into networking, for example. Well, then you're going to want to get your CCNA. So that's one, that's probably the most common one, but there's so many other ones under that too that you can move into. But that's probably the most popular and the one that most recruiters will look for. Again, like you have your CCIE, you have other certifications, but if you're just like, hey, I don't have money to just pay for 5 different certifications, which one should I get if I want to move into networking? I would say CCNA. Hi, Giseme. Am I pronouncing your name right? I'm probably butchering your name. I'm so sorry. If you're in manufacturing or engineering, yes, engineering is good for Six Sigma. Yes, for sure. Certifications are good. They generally want black belt or green belt or quality engineers. Yes, for sure. And I have talked to some folks where they'll, they have come from that manufacturing background and they talk up the Six Sigma. And then I don't really need that so much. I'm just like, I know it's great, but for this role that you're applying to, we don't need it. Like, it's great, but we don't need it for this. But yes, for those industries, for sure. And sometimes it is going to be really specific to your industry. That's why I'm giving more of a general approach to most companies, because some companies are going to be, smaller, mid-size, just depending on what you're actually going to do. And your role will be dependent on the certification. But generally, if you're coming across different job descriptions, these are going to be a lot of the ones that you'll see. Required, or they're listing as, hey, it's a plus factor if you have this. So if you have a certification, you definitely want to list it on your resume and put it near either your education or somewhere at the top where or a recruiter or HR manager can easily see it. Sometimes it's kind of weird. I see people have these great certifications and then it's all the way at the end of their 4-page resume, right? And I'm like, I didn't see that, because we're skimming. Again, like let's say you have 100 applications to get through in an hour, or 30 minutes, I don't know. You're going to take like seconds to like look at them. You're going to be like, oh, yep, nope, yes, no, right? So if you have certifications and you know that they're relevant, you need to put them at the top of your resume, like somewhere where it's visually easy to see them. Okay, sidebar conversation. Now I'm going to move into your security roles, because while I was at Nestle, I was hiring a lot of cybersecurity roles. And people are probably tired of me saying cybersecurity, but there's going to be a lot of need for cybersecurity roles, no matter what happens in the future. So I talk a lot about the automation that's happening. We're still going to need cybersecurity folks. I mean, people are still going to be hacking. There's so many things that are hackable. It's ridiculous. Like water systems are hackable. So anyway, cybersecurity. Some of the ones that I have come across specific to security, the main one that has been requested is your CISSP. Let me put this in the comments. And sorry, I'm like readjusting here. Okay, so let me type it in here, cybersecurity. CISP. And King of Kill, if you're still in here, I can't remember what industry you're in. Are you like in the IT field? I can't remember. So your CISSP, also your CISM. Those would be the main ones generally. Depending on what security role you're going in. There are certain security roles where it's less IT, where it's just, we need someone that can translate our security needs and practices and put a framework around them and communicate that to our employees and our managers, our leadership, to make sure that everyone's actually doing the practices, or our vendors are falling in line with our protocol and our framework. Other ones are very technical. And then you also have some that are more cloud-based. Like we need someone that has security skills, but specific to cloud data management. And so with those, you're going to want these 3. And I talk about this a lot in general. You're going to want certifications that are specific to AWS, GCP, and Azure. So Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and then your Amazon Web Services. Side note, if you're looking for companies to invest in, Amazon Web Services, Amazon, Google Cloud Platform, Google, Microsoft Azure, Microsoft. Just a side note, we're going to have a conversation on Monday, Money Talk Mondays. I created that phrase and I have a hard time getting that word out of my mouth sometimes. Okay, so the next certifications I'm going to wrap up here are under the marketing umbrella or even business analysis, because there is some need for it. So marketing, business analytics, you're going to see that there will be more of a need for folks that have Salesforce. Ooh, I'm going to take a sip of water. Oh my gosh, my voice is so dry all of a sudden. Let me put myself on mute for a second. Okay, I think I'm back. And hopefully I wasn't echoing that whole time. I just realized my PC was on volume, so oops. Okay, so the last one I'm going to talk about is Salesforce. So Salesforce, I have had about 4 roles before I left the IT field industry. Why do I keep doing that? Okay. Before I left the IT recruitment that needed Salesforce experience. So if you have a certification or you're looking to become a business analyst, for example, and you want to be in the marketing realm, or if you just want to move into marketing, you may want to get a Salesforce certification, because a lot of companies are using that for their CRM. And then the next one will be, this is a good one, marketing, digital, social media. All of these roles are looking for people that have at least some SEO or search engine optimization experience. So your social media managers, your marketing specialists, your marketing managers, your SEO managers, your SEO editors, your whatever in the marketing realm or digital realm specifically, I would say get your certifications within SEO. And one good one to start with would be Google AdWords. And also just within the marketing realm, they want, most hiring managers, most companies are looking for people that understand the analytics and can turn those into results to grow different platforms for the company. Either it turns into sales, or for maybe your digital media companies, which is where I'm at, it turns into more followers, more engagement, because that equals more advertising money, right? So those are some certifications that I would look at. There's a lot of different tools like SEMrush as well as that you could use, but Google AdWords is probably the best one to start out with if you're looking to move into SEO and if you're trying to kind of build up your marketing skills. So I think that's the last one that I will end with. I'm going to pull up this article by Glassdoor because they also have some certifications that impress recruiters. So 100% not fully on board, but I'm going to pull this up. If I can find it. Let me put this in the chat too. Okay, so Glassdoor I like to follow sometimes because they do have some interesting articles that come out. So they came out with this month, 8 certifications that actually impress recruiters. Now, one that I want to highlight is that they do talk about the human resources certification. So your PHR, your SPHR, which just means senior professional in human resource, and then your SHRM. They didn't put SHRM CP, so it's SHRM certified professional is what they should have put in here, but and then SHRM is the Society for Human Resource Management. This is a full, um, it's a full. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain them and what they are, but your SHRM is more like the body that has all these different resources. They have a full portal of things that you can find and information within the HR umbrella. They also offer memberships for holding different events. You can join them. It's like a HR club, and there's benefits for that. There's also things for the companies as well that may join SHRM. They can advertise. They can do different things there. So yeah, it's a really cool platform. But the Society for Human Resource Managers, they have these 2 certifications. So they have the SHRM CP, Certified Professional, or the SHRM SCP, Senior Certified Professional. So I'm surprised Glassdoor didn't share that. They should have given a little more detail about the SHRM one, but maybe they just were not as aware. But I would definitely agree, though, with the PHR and SHRM. Those would be the 2 certifications to look at. Project management certification. So I mentioned 2 others in addition to the PMP, but this kind of backs up what I was saying, that for most project manager roles, most people are just going to look for you to have a PMP. But there's also, depending on what industry you're in and what role, you could also have certifications specific to Agile and Scrum Master. So you may need a CSM, Scrum Master certification, or you may need a PMI, ACP, Agile certification as well. So it's interesting they didn't even list those, but I think it speaks to the fact that generally and broadly, it is the certification to go to and to look for by most recruiters and hiring managers. Now, they included some sales certifications. I have hired sales folks mainly in the like I've talked to sales folks in the tobacco industry, right? Your pharmaceutical industries. And then when I was recruiting for sales professionals, we were recruiting for, Nestle, which is the manufacturing company of pet food products. Challenger sales, if they're listing here, spin selling and Sandler selling. The only one that I've actually heard of this list is your spin selling, to be honest with you. But I am not a heavy sales recruiter, but that's actually the only one. So the spin selling right there is the only one I've heard of. So just for information, if you're looking to get into sales, there may be some certifications to check out. But again, I have not needed anyone when I was recruiting for sales folks. I really just needed the experience, and I needed people that were passionate about what they were selling and had the interest. So it's kind of easy to recruit people, from big pharma, tobacco, a lot of the time, because, those aren't typically industries. Not in all cases, right? There's some people that are very passionate about those industries, but a lot of people I spoke with were like, hey, I just want something that I can be really proud of, that I'm interested in. And that was the case for them to really move away from tobacco sales and big pharma sales. So moving on to help desk, which I talked about earlier. So your help desk, your IT support, whatever you want to call it, right? So they actually list the same certifications. Now, I said they're listing the CompTIA A Plus and the Network Plus. Now, I didn't list the Network Plus. I only listed the A Plus because, in my experience, this is the main certification, if there is a certification required, that your hiring teams are going to look for. These are the ones that are going to be listed in the job description as a requirement or plus factor or nice to have, right? So this is, again, IT support is that's not a job that I would say, yes, you need to work in that job for 10 years, because it really is more of a starting point in IT, especially if you want to go the networking route. Again, it's not your most highest paying job. It's more of that entry level point. Along with this, along with the certification, the biggest thing that I think people miss that's really important if you're looking to move into a help desk or IT support role is the customer service experience, that customer minded person. So that's something else. If there's not a certification tied to it, the hard skills, you're going to want the A plus certification, right? But also, you need to be skilled with really good communications to be successful in that role, to actually, I think, get promoted and beyond that position, right? And to have a very good customer service mindset, because like I said earlier, we're hiring IT support professionals because, oh my gosh, Jessica's messed up her computer, we need someone to help her quickly so she can get back to work, or we need to keep these systems up and running for everyone, that sort of thing. So this is, kind of getting you started out. Now, again, most people in IT support, they have ambitions to move into other realms. Maybe it's security, maybe it's networking, maybe they eventually are going to transition to something completely different with an IT scope. But again, if you're starting out, you're you have maybe a, I don't know, computer science degree, a years of experience. Maybe you were working at Apple as one of their support folks. Then you may want to look at that certification. They do list a Network Plus right there, but again, from my experience, I don't think you need it. But hey, if you have the money and you said I can get two, go for it. But if you just have money to get one certification, go for the A plus. All right, moving on along, the networking certification. So they have listed ones beyond the CCNA that I was referring to. Number one, I would say is CCNA, most common, the one that most employers are going to be looking for. Now, Glassdoor also listed the CCMP and the CCIE. And I referred to them earlier, but again, like I would go with the CCNA. However, also, and I mentioned this a lot, look at the type of jobs that you're wanting to apply to, look at those job descriptions, look to see what they're requiring and what are the plus factors or nice to haves for these roles as well. Hey, DOD, welcome. Nice to see you in here. I'm kind of closing things out, so I'm going to go through this list and I'm going to close it out here. And then they also listed Salesforce, so one of the software certifications. So it's, again, CRM platform. If you're in marketing, if you're even moving to be like a business analyst and you're going to work with marketing folks, I think you should get some exposure to the Salesforce platform. And if you can get a certification, go for it. HubSpot. Now, I have seen HubSpot a lot lately and the need for HubSpot. I didn't talk about it just because I haven't had any roles that actually required HubSpot certification, but it has been something that I've been seeing on job descriptions and whatnot. So that could be one to look at if you're in the marketing field too. I would say Google AdWords or any SEO certifications will be more important if you're in the marketing space, because again, a lot of companies are needing people that understand SEO. They want better SEO, whether that's whatever platform they're on, they need people with SEO skills. So different Google certifications will get you there. They're listing a couple. They're listing Publisher, Analytics, AdWords. I think, well, you know what? Analytics. I would say Google Analytics or Google AdWords. I think those will be really good because SEO, having that keyword understanding and then the analytics behind it, what you're actually posting, like what's actually driving, and it happened again. So what's actually driving sales, what's driving traffic to your social media sites, what's getting views, all of that. Alrighty, so I think, are we at the end of, yes, we are at the end of this list. So I'm gonna close out the video and, sorry, this is like my worst video yet, I think. Let me just try something. Okay, I think that's better. I don't know, but those are the certifications I wanted to mention today. So we covered project management, we covered HR and recruiting, we covered IT support, and we covered network and security. And then we also covered your marketing and digital type of roles. So hope this is useful to someone. And tomorrow I will be covering some money topics because it will be Money Talk Monday. So appreciate you being here today. If you're watching the replay, please do hit the like button as you join and your before you leave. And with that, I will see you all later. Bye.